this way, but I didn't know he was leaving the scene because he was right, when you can see where the debris is.
Okay, so you thought he was turning around and coming back this way?
Yeah.
So you think he was headed that way when you hit him?
Nobody wants to come outside. I've been sleeping. Look, I've been sleeping. People been driving around, parking in front of my house, like driving. I can't even get no sleep.
Where do you live?
Outside running around. I'm on Linwood. They coming around, driving around, circling around. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Okay.
And then nobody's outside. Nobody's scared to come outside.
Relax.
What the fuck, man?
I don't know what's going on.
No, man, fuck that. Fuck that.
What? You're getting...
No, fuck that.
This is
You
an
fucked up
accident.
my fucking car, man. The fuck?
Calm down a little bit.
No, I'm not calming down.
Step back.
No, I'm not stepping back.
Step
I'm
back.
not stepping back.
Step back.
Stepping back. This is my fucking car.
It's an accident.
No, it's my fucking car. You act like you're not fucking, you don't care.
I'm trying to gather information so I can take the report for you, sir. You need to calm down a little bit.
I don't know which. I was behind it.
Can you step it up a minute?
Which way were you going southbound? I don't know. He was going that way.
Where?
Were you going that direction?
Give me a fucking trick.
Yeah, 41. Get on the ground! On the ground now! Flip over on your back. 10-3.
I ain't doing shit, bitch. Yo.
Flip over on your back now!
What I want to do? Fuck.
Sir?
On your back now!
Fucked up.
On your back.
Kill me then.
No!
Kill
On
me,
your
bitch.
back.
Kill me, bitch.
No.
Kill me. Kill me. The fuck?
I need a
don't give
10-3.
fucking car. I don't give
Now.
a fuck. Kill me. Kill
On
me.
the ground.
Somebody fucking kill me. The fuck?
Now!
Give me your fucking gun, bitch.
On the ground now!
You ain't give me a fucking
On the ground now!
I'm not on shit.
On the ground now!
Gun or fucking kill me. Fuck all that.
On the
Give me the
ground!
fucking gun or kill me.
On the
Give
ground!
me the fucking gun or kill
On
me.
the ground now!
God, no.
Now!
Kill me. I'm ready to go.
I don't want to kill you!
Kill
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! No! Get on the ground! Now! Get on the ground!
Kill me.
No!
Kill me then.
No!
Kill me.
Get on the ground!
Fuck all this
Get
shit.
on the ground!
Blow my fucking hand off.
Now!
Get on the ground. No,
Get on the
shit.
ground.
No, hell no. Ow. Turn over. Turn over. Turn over. Turn over.
What's going on, my people? This is Blanche Eden, your host for Black Trending News. All right, so that was a pretty intense video. When I saw it, I was like, I have to share this. I don't think enough people saw it. I never saw anything like that. I never saw anybody asking for their life to be taken. I'm confused, and it puts me in a place I really need to think for a minute and process that thought. But what I want to talk about today is de-escalation training and what de-escalation training is, and the fact that 34 states don't require it. 34 states don't require their cops to have de-escalation training. That's a lot of states. That's most of the country. All right, it's about 80% of the country that does not require this. What de-escalation training is, it teaches officers to slow down, create space, and use communication techniques to diffuse a potentially dangerous situation. De-escalation training provides officers with strategies to calmly deal with people who are experiencing mental and emotional distress. Many large departments like New York City, Chicago, Dallas, Las Vegas, Minneapolis, these departments have de-escalation training. But there is again, 34 states that do not have it. And this is as of 2017. So give or take 2 years ago, maybe other states have stepped up and added de-escalation training. Maybe they haven't. Let me know in the comment section. But as of 2017, only 34 states have it. There was still a lot of violence going on in 2017. So, I mean, I would hope that some states would have jumped on board. But if you live in a state that does not require the police to have de-escalating training, we're going to talk today about how you can change that, because it's really important. Alabama. That's the state where I am sure that they need some de-escalation training. and they don't require it. What's required is 12 hours per year plus firearm proficiency. That's the only training that's provided. That is required, 12 hours a year. That's not even a minute a day of training off the top of my head. In California, de-escalation training requirement is 2 hours every 2 years. Can you believe this garbage? A state like California, what is that? The first or second largest state in the country, only requiring 2 hours every 2 years of de-escalation training for their force. That is for the state. Okay. A minimum of 4 hours of each arrest and control, driving, firearms, force options simulator. There's a lot of force training going on. But again, only 24 hours every 2 years. Okay. It's just the amount of training that cops are receiving. It shows, right? Like we already know this information. I'm just throwing out numbers so that we can have a visual. I'm just putting a video out there so we can have a visual of it. This sucks. We can see that the training is not good. But my point of this video today is to make sure that you know how to change that law. You know what steps to take. And it's really easy. We're going to go over it in a little bit. De-escalation in Connecticut, for example, only requires 3 hours every 3 years. So an hour a year of de-escalation training. So how do they know? How are cops supposed to know how to handle stress when there's someone with a weapon, maybe somebody who's mentally ill, maybe someone who does not want to lay down on the ground and get arrested, which is what most people, right? How do they, why aren't they trained? Why isn't it mandated? Why isn't it mandated? In Florida, okay, there's no de-escalation training required. Stun gun training is required every year. Firearms training is required every 2 years. Okay. In Georgia, 1 hour per year of de-escalation training is required. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, this is really sad. Okay, I hope this is a wake-up call for a lot of people, because these states that I'm throwing out there: Illinois, hello, Chicago, one of the most violent states in the entire country, if not the world. There is no minimum hour set for de-escalation training. No minimum. They can do 5 minutes of escalation training. Good job. See you later, dude. Bye. This is really bad. The legislator is responsible for that. All right. So if you're in Illinois and you're listening, ask the representatives what's going on with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you how to contact them in this podcast. Maryland, no minimum hour set. So I'm not going to go over everything, but you get an idea of what I'm talking about. You get a pretty good idea of what I'm talking about. Police officers need to be trained. Every single state needs to have a mandated police officer training for de-escalation. They are public servants. If I need to remind you, if you didn't know, police officers are public servants. What does that mean? They serve the public. They shouldn't be shooting the public. The videos that we're seeing, literally every time I go on a Facebook, every single time I go on a Facebook, I see people getting shot and killed by police officers. I can't go online without seeing it. I just can't go online without seeing it. Okay, so de-escalation training is very, very important. And it's happening. It's happening. Certain states are doing it. So what's the problem? You know what the problem is? They're not doing it enough. They're not doing it enough. That is the problem. Or they're not doing it at all, as you can see in at least 34 states as of 2017. Please let me know in the comments if it's been more than that. One has to ask themselves, what are these videos for? These videos that we see online of people getting killed by police or harassed by police or whatever is going on, something bad, right, is going on between an officer and a citizen. Why are they being watched so much? People watch them. They have millions and millions and millions of views. But what is the point? What is the point? They're toxic. They're violent. They affect the unconscious. It's an image stuck in your head. You know, you're carrying this horror around with you. You can't help but think that it's affecting primarily black men and police officers on the street, like when they're pulling somebody over. I mean, I'm sure cops are watching these videos, people are watching these videos. It's creating attention. The de-escalation conversations need to be happening. The training needs to be happening in every single state. If you're listening to this and you have access to the internet, take 10 minutes and write your representatives, because honestly, that is the only way that is going to be changed. Like I said in my other podcast, the only way you can change the law is by contacting them and getting them to create a bill to try to change it. Sometimes it takes years, but get the process started. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Right now, I'm going to play a clip of what an example of what de-escalating training looks like.
Hands up! Get your hands up now!
Veteran officers Ken LaRue and Gordy Bush are responding to a burglary.
I just want to go. I just want to leave. I just want to leave.
It's all part of a de-escalation drill designed to help cops figure out an alternative to deadly force.
Why didn't you tase him?
He's not trying to harm anybody. He's just trying to get away.
Perfect. We use appropriate level of force.
The appropriate level of force at a department where police-citizen encounters frequently turn deadly.
We were shooting a high number of unarmed citizens, a high number of minorities.
Assistant Sheriff Kirk Primus says the reality check came in 2011.
What's gunfire?
With the shooting death of Stanley Gibson, an unarmed mentally ill vet who was mistaken for a burglary suspect.
Taking a human life is a big deal. It's a big deal.
The Justice Department thought so too, recommending 75 changes to police department policy, including restrictions on when officers may shoot into a vehicle.
We had to recreate those scenarios where we were shooting unarmed people and put officers through this in training, so when they're faced with that situation in real life, they're in a better position to not make that mistake.
What's the severity of crime at that moment?
Officer Marla Stevens trains veteran cops on use of force.
This is a South Carolina State Trooper.
Using real-life examples like this one.
Can I see your license, please?
Here, the man on the video is doing exactly what the officer has asked. Until he reaches in the car for his ID, and the officer shoots him.
De-escalation. What are the training techniques?
With de-escalation, it's slowing everything down. Let's get more people there. Let's try and keep this thing from spinning to a place it shouldn't.
The female that was out here, did you know her? The person? No.
Officers are taught to speak in lower tones and a less threatening manner to calm a suspect down. But Stevens says the hardest lesson is how to eliminate bias, assumptions based on race, ethnicity, even gender.
The first step in fighting a bias is recognizing that you have it.
You get one?
Part of the solution is to bridge the gap within the community.
And if you show the community that, hey, we want to change and we want to do the right thing, I think it's extremely important.
Put your hands up! Put your hands up! Where's my brother?
The reality-based training seems to be paying off. With nearly all reforms in place, officer-involved shootings have dropped from 25 in 2010 to 6 so far this year. Michelle Miller, CBS News, Las Vegas.
So, drop a comment and tell me what you guys think about that. Honestly, if you want my opinion, I think that they should have different races of people in there. They need to have real people in there. Like, they need to have black people. They need to have women. They need to have different kinds of people. People who are really mentally, they have another cop in the place of the victim or the potential victim or the criminal. I feel like they need to visually see a black person so that they can really be in the moment, because that's who's really getting, I've seen videos of white people getting killed, but they're usually mentally ill. I've seen it. They're not just killing black people. The cops are not just killing black people. Over 1,000 people a year are being killed by cops. And there's a large amount of them that are unarmed. One guy was just turning around to get his ID, and the cop jumped across and shot him up. Did he even think? Did he even think about what the hell he was doing? The value of human life has declined severely. It has declined. It is disgraceful. These people have a gun and they're just off the chain with it. They're off the chain with it. Even if they would have tasered him, my God. I mean, they shot him like 5 times. It looked like a damn Tom Cruise movie. It was the worst thing. And he was just turning around to get his ID, and now he's dead. You know, the fear that these cops have is unbelievable. The fear is really unbelievable. They need to, it's very important that they're trained how to control their fear. And they need to be having therapy. Therapy is another thing that needs to be mandated. Don't you think so? Don't you think that people who have criminals going at them all day and they're de-escalating people, they need to have some type of mandated therapy and mandated de-escalating training. I don't know about you, but this is something that I'm going to go to house.gov, 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 put in your zip code. You can find out your representatives in your state, and you can contact them and say, hey, look, this is what I think needs to change in my community. And forget the negativity. Forget the excuses. Just do it. Because it could be your kid, it could be your family, it could be you. It could be a neighbor, it could be somebody you love, it could be a stranger, whatever it is. But it makes sense, right? So let's talk a little bit about, I already gave you the website, house.gov, right? You put in your zip code and you follow from there. You find your representative. That's the person you need to contact, okay? Know your governments. I can't express it enough, people. I feel like when I put out a video about changing the gun laws or something, nobody gives a 2 shits about it. Nobody cares, you know, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop making them. So, you know your government. Determine whether your law will apply at the local, state, or federal level. These are local laws. These are local laws that I just mentioned to you with the non-mandatory de-escalation. Those are local laws. So you want to contact for your local laws. Laws that affect your life. These affect our life. We can't just go on. Are we just going to continue to go on and just watch these videos? It's not entertainment. This is real life. This is not a fucking movie. Like, this is real people getting their fucking body shot up. It's awful. It's awful. And I think it's a little addicted. I think people are addicted to seeing them. And I think some people want to see them. Let me know in the comment section. But they got a lot of views, which means people are clicking on it and they watching it and they're sharing it. They're really popular. They're going viral. So obviously there's somebody out there that is watching this. But is anybody trying to change it? And it's really easy to change it. It's really easy to change it. Okay, write your proposed law. A bill is more likely to become a law when it is simple and proposes only a minor change or addition to current law. So keep it as uncomplicated as possible. Here we go. Please place mandated de-escalation therapy, de-escalation training, and mandatory behavioral therapy, mental therapy, whatever you want to call it, for these police officers. They need it. They need it. That video that I played in the beginning, that woman, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do if I was in her shoes. If I had a guy telling me to shoot him, I don't know what I would do. I mean, she sounds so scared. I felt so scared for her. You don't really see videos like that when it's the other way around. When the guy is screaming like a maniac, shoot me, shoot me. Like, what the fuck? What do you do in that situation? What do you do in that situation? She de-escalated that situation. And even when the gentleman came over and gave him an opportunity to lay down, he said, oh, hell no. That's what he said. He said, I'm not laying down. And he got tasered. But you know what? He probably has his life right now. He probably has his life right now. So it was considered a de-escalation. And that's how it should be. That is how it should be. I think the woman should have had a taser. She didn't have one. Why? I don't know. But thank God somebody came along, because the guy was really, he was off. He was very off. So when you're drafting up this proposal for your state, It should include relevant research. For example, if you are proposing a law to raise the percentage of income people must pay in child support, show why this would benefit families. Research showing that current child support amounts are insufficient to support children would help make your case. So include some links in there. Include some articles, some quotes, some dates. It's really easy. It's just a cut and paste. Keep it simple. It's 5th grade writing. It is real easy to do. Okay, and connect with your representative at house.gov, house.gov. Determine who your government representatives are. Put in your zip code. If you're proposing a law in a local, such as a city or a county, you'll have a city or county commission representative. In large cities, this will go by a district. Either way, there's one person there or 2 people, however many people, to contact. Pitch the bill to your representatives. Be friendly, respectful. Even if the government official does not like your bill, the goal here is to find a sponsor for the bill. This is a person who will introduce it to the voting members of a council, commission, or Congress. If your representative will not sponsor the bill, start contacting other representatives. While it's best to have your representative sponsor the bill, any elected official can introduce it. Any elected official can introduce it. That's it. And take it from there. Take it from there. Because honestly, if we just sit around clicking and liking and putting crying emojis, I'm sad, that doesn't change anything. It just really doesn't change anything. Have a good day.